Good morning. Let's get started. And who is this Meera and who is this Tulasi Ram? And you need to log in through your Smail account. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I cannot let you in each time you try to log into this course. So please log in from your Smail account. Anyway, let's get started. And those who are joining late, in the sense, if you had missed the last two classes, you better you go through the lectures which are recorded and which are shared with you, because we cannot afford to keep on revising what we have already covered. Okay, so let me quickly start where we left yesterday. Who is this? Hope you are able to see this one. This finite element, tell me. As I emphasized in the last two classes, finite element, if you want to learn properly, you need to step back and look at approximate methods. Okay, so we are going to look at approximate methods in the next few classes. So approximate methods can broadly be classified into two categories: weighted residual methods and variational methods. Yesterday, I explained to you in brief what is weighted residual method, and same is written here. Weighted residual methods work on boundary value problem. BVP is nothing but boundary value problem directly, and try to minimize some measure of error in the solution, which is called residue. Please mute your mic and also switch off your videos. Variational method. The boundary value problem is first expressed as an equivalent variational in an equivalent variational form, and approximate solution is constructed from the variational statement. So these are the two broad categories of approximate methods. It doesn't matter if once you solve a problem using any of these, something is happening, understand? You please mute your mic.
Sir, one person named Becca Benti, I think he is not able to see our messages.
What messages? Sir, he started attending today. What messages you want to see? He started only today. He started attending today. I already forwarded him all the videos. Please mute your mics, okay? Otherwise, echo is coming. So, these approximate methods are broadly classified into these two categories. To get an idea about these methods in detail, here, what is going on? Becca Benti, you need to mute your mic. Mute your mic. Okay, to have a better understanding of these methods, here a simple problem is taken, and the same problem we are going to solve using all these methods. Means under each category of these methods, you may have several variety of methods. So we will work out this problem, for which we know the exact solution. We'll try to find approximate solution, and in that process we'll learn what are the various steps in those methods, and see which out of these methods, before we proceed to the finite element method, we need to pick one of the weighted residual method, and whether I mentioned it doesn't matter whether you use weighted residual methods or variational method. So we need to also check whether the solution that you get from these two different approaches are going to be same or not. So all that checking and getting confidence in these methods, we will try to do that exercise using this simple problem. Okay, please take a note of it in your notebook, because it may be inconvenient to go back and forth in the slides. I can do it, but it may be difficult for you to understand. Please take a note of this problem. It's a second order differential equation, and it is required to find the solution of this problem from x 0 to L, 0 to 1, x going from 0 to 1 over that domain. We need to find solution of this particular differential equation subjected to two conditions, boundary conditions. And based on whatever we learned in the last class, you can easily see these two boundary conditions turns out to be essential boundary conditions. Yesterday in the last class, I actually brought to your attention a thumb rule, how to classify the boundary conditions, whether they are essential or natural boundary conditions. So that classification or that identification of boundary conditions is very much essential. So that's why you need to once again go through that. And here it turns out, if you apply that thumb rule here, it turns out these two boundary conditions are essential boundary conditions. Okay, and if you want to find exact solution for this problem, you integrate it twice. You are going to get two integration constants, and two integration constants can be determined by substituting these two boundary conditions, and finally the solution turns out to be this one. I told you in yesterday's class, you verify whether this is correct or not. Okay, so for this problem, this is the exact solution, and we also go through each of these methods and see how the approximate solution that we get from each of these methods matches with the exact solution. Okay, any questions here? Please take a note of this problem. So to start with, we are going to first go through these weighted residual methods. Under weighted residual methods, there are several categories, and as the statement here says, in weighted residual methods, we are going to try to come up with an error, or try to find some residue in the solution using some weight function. So depending on the choice of the weight function, there are several categories of weighted residual methods. So let me start this weighted residual methods. Now let's look at this equation. Let's look at this equation, and you got exact solution for this. Once you integrate twice and substitute these boundary conditions, determining the integration constants, you get this exact solution. And what do you mean by exact solution? What do you mean by exact solution? When I substitute this solution u into this differential equation, right hand side is going to match with the left hand side. Or if I try to find what is the difference between left hand side and right hand side, residue is going to be 0. Error is going to be 0. So if your solution is exact, then residue is going to be 0. But what we are trying to seek here, please note that this is very simple problem. So for this problem, it may be easy for you to get exact solution. But our objective, when we apply finite element method or when we develop finite element method, our objective is to solve complicated problems for which it's not practical to get exact solution, and we are we are happy, or we are satisfied enough if we get approximate solution. So the point I want to make is, if U turns out to be approximate, if U is approximate, then left hand side is not going to match right hand side exactly. So there is going to be some difference. If U is approximate, because we are seeking approximate solutions, I want to emphasize that if U is approximate, left hand side is not going to match right hand side, and residue is going to be there, or error is going to be there. That error, I'm going to find the approximate solution such a way that that error is minimized. So that is the overall concept that we are going to apply in the weighted residual methods. Okay. So with that introduction, let me start. So now I'm seeking approximate solution for this problem. So how do we proceed? So this is how we are going to proceed. Assume an approximate, you can see here, title is weighted residual methods. And now we are seeking approximate solution. I'm going to find an approximate solution by assuming some polynomial. Okay? Assume an approximate solution of a boundary value problem has the following general form. U is equal to U as a function of x. I told you it's not necessarily always, it is required to emphasize U is function of x. So U is equal to A naught. Please note that here it's an approximation symbol. This one is not equal to, it's an approximation. U is equal to A naught plus A1x plus A2x square. Plus, if you want to add higher order terms, you can add. Okay? So you start with a polynomial trial solution. This is what is called trial solution. Trial means we are starting, we are trying with that solution. So this is the trial solution, and this trial solution, what we'll do is, this is an approximate solution. I don't know what is A naught, I don't know what is A1, A2. And please note that the coefficient of A naught is 1, coefficient of A1 is x, coefficient of A2 is x squared. How these are picked? How these are picked? Here 1 x, x square, and next term, if you want, it should be x cube. You cannot skip. You cannot skip some intermediate terms, and then you cannot say next term is x power 4, something like that. Okay. So you need to have this continued, or this sequence should be maintained. 1 x, x square. All these are coming from Pascal's triangle. If you don't know, or if you have forgotten what is Pascal's triangle, you go to Wikipedia and try to find it out. Okay. So you need to, whenever you choose a polynomial, if you want like a third degree polynomial, if you want your trial solution to be a third degree polynomial, you need to include all the lower order terms. You need to include A naught or constant term, which is A naught here, and a linear term, which is A1, and A2 is quadratic term, A3 is A3 x cube. You should have, if you want to go to x4, A3 x cube, so that is the cubic term, and then only you can go for A4 x power 4, okay, quartic term. You cannot skip the lower order terms, and if you skip the lower order terms, you are going to face serious problem with your convergence of the solution. So these are all the implications that you need to keep in mind. When you are not getting convergence in finite element method or something like that in approximate method, the reason could be that the starting trial solution may not be appropriate. Okay, and it's not necessary that you need to start with this kind of polynomial trial solution. You can also start with the trigonometric trial solution. Please note that again you need to go back to your mathematics, basic mathematics. If you try to find what is the expansion of sin x, cosine x, tan x, they're all polynomials. Okay, you go back and check if you are not immediately convinced with whatever I'm saying. So instead of starting with the trigonometric approximation, you can start with polynomial approximation. Or if you don't like this polynomial approximation, you can start with the trigonometric approximation. And one more thing, here I mentioned, here A0 coefficient is 1, A1 coefficient is x, A2 coefficient is x square. And if at all you want higher order terms, A3 x cube, A4 x power 4, A5 x power 5, you can have like that, okay? Dot an x power n. And this 1 x square, x cube, x power 4, x power n, these are all called basis functions. These are called basis functions. You please make a note of it. Basis functions, one of the important thing, basis function has to satisfy all the terms in the basis should be linearly independent. All the terms in basis should be linearly independent. Okay? And what is the meaning of this linearly independent? You must have studied as a part of your 12th class mathematics or first year engineering mathematics. So you please go back and try to revise what is linear independent. They cannot be linearly dependent. I cannot have A0, again A1, then A2, x square, something like that. I cannot have like that. I should have A1, A0 is to capture the, if there is any constant, like if the solution is constant, A0 is going to capture. If there is any linearity in the solution, A1 is going to capture. This term is going to capture. If there is any quadratic kind of thing, this term is going to capture. So you don't need to have two of these terms. A0 x square again, A3 x square, you don't need to have like that. Okay. So these terms are linearly independent, or each of the term in basis should be linearly independent. 1 x square, all these should be linearly independent. Okay. So with that additional information, let's start with this as a trial solution. So when you substitute this trial solution, into the differential equation and define an error function. Here what I have done, left hand side minus right hand side. That's why I told you to make a note of that problem statement. So now if I go back to this previous slide and go back and forth, it will be inconvenient to you. So if you had already noted in your notebook, you can easily see this is nothing but difference between left hand side and right hand side. And that is defined as error. Error is also going to be function of x. Error is also going to be function of x. Okay? And this error in weighted residual methods, this error is going to be multiplied with the weight function and integrate over the problem domain. What is the problem domain here? It's x going from 0 to 1. So integrate this error, which is function of x, multiplied with a weight function, which is also function of x, integrate over the problem domain. So basically what you are doing is you are defining error, this one, e is equal to minus of second derivative of u with respect to x square minus sine pi x. This e is error is going to be different at different locations between 0 and 1. Error is going to be a function of x. So if I sum up all the error, then I'm going to get the total error over the domain. But that way of doing is not correct. Why? Because at some point between 0 and 1, At some location error may be positive, and some location error may be negative. And if you sum up error over the entire domain, it may turn out to be 0, but in fact error may be more at some locations. Okay, so to avoid that kind of thing, that is what is called error cancellation. Error cancellation in the sense, because when you integration means what? Summation over the domain of the problem is 0 to 1. So when you integrate from 0 to 1 just the error, then there may be problem, or there may be an issue of error cancellation. So to avoid error cancellation, you multiply with a weight function. So the purpose of this weight function is to take care of error cancellation. Okay, what is this weight function? What weight function I need to select? Please note that till this point, till this defining the error, I hope it is clear to you. You need to start with a polynomial trial solution, substitute that in the error, or define an error function, substitute this approximation into the error function, and then you are going to get a function of, because here when this trial solution is function of x, so when I substitute this trial solution into this here, error is going to be function of x. Okay, so when once I get error, if I integrate from 0 to 1, or it not necessarily 0 to 1, you need to watch out what is the domain of the problem. And please note that here we are focusing on one-dimensional problems. To understand, one more important thing I want to emphasize: in real life or any time in life, if you have some problem, you better simplify it. Maybe your understanding is not correct. So when tomorrow, like later when you are solving a three-dimensional problem, if your solution is not converging, or if you are getting large error in the solution, to check whatever you are doing is correct or not, you degenerate to one-dimensional case and check whether the procedure that you are following is correct or not. Okay, so that's the reason we start with one-dimensional problems. As a part of this introduction course, you may notice that more than half of the classes we are going to concentrate only on one-dimensional problems. Once you have a complete knowledge of one-dimensional problems, once you have a complete grip on one-dimensional problems, it's easy to extend for two-dimensional and three-dimensional cases. Anyway, now this error function, this is a one-dimensional problem. This is an error function, and this error function you need to integrate over the problem domain, which is one-dimensional. Here in this particular case, it's 0 to 1. And if you just integrate the error, there is going to be error cancellation. So we are going to multiply with a weight function. That is the reason these methods are called weighted residual methods. You are going to define a residual, or you are going to define an error function. That error you are going to multiply with a weight function, integrate over the problem domain. Then you are going to get weighted residual. That weighted residual, please note that here, what is this? What are the limits of this integration? W is going to be a function of x, E is going to be a function of x, and you are integrating with respect to x. You are going to integrate with respect to x. If you substitute limits of integration, let's say for this problem 0 to 1, and integrate it, then what is this weighted residual R? R, what is this? Is going to be a function of. Weighted residual is going to be a function of the coefficients A0, A1, A2. Depending on the polynomial you start. If you start with a constant polynomial, you are going to, this weighted residual is going to be a function of A0. If you are going to start with a linear polynomial, possibly it's going to be a function of A0 and A1, like that. So finally, this residual is going to be a function of unknown coefficients. What are these A0, A1, A2? They are unknown coefficients. So how do we determine these unknown coefficients? I want to minimize, I want to find these coefficients A0, A1, A2, such a way this error is minimized. Such a way this error is minimized. Hello? Please mute your mic, okay? Please mute your mic, and if you have any questions, you please write it here in the comments. Who is this? What is the one person is there? Vinay. Vinay, who is this? Please mute your mic. Any questions here at this stage? Any questions? No questions. Everything is clear. So now our focus is going to be selecting the weight function. And what is the simplest weight function that you can have? Simplest weight function that you can have is, suppose you have some number or some quantity. You don't know whether it is positive or negative. Okay? And you always want that quantity to be positive. What is the best way to make it positive? You multiply with that quantity itself. Okay? So error, I told you error, it can be positive or negative. So I want that the weighted residual, I want it to be positive. So I can, the simplest weight function that I can select is error itself. Okay, simplest weight function that I can select is error itself. So that is what is least squares weighted residual methods. In least square weighted residual method, the weight function is error itself. In collocation, next one is collocation weighted residual method. I hope you heard about Dirac delta function. Dirac delta function. You must have heard about it, or if you have not heard about it, in your physics you must have heard, or in your mathematics, if you want to define a step function, usually we are going to use this Dirac delta function. And if you have not heard about it, or if you have forgotten, you better go to Wikipedia. Capital D I R A C, Dirac delta function. In collocation method, Dirac delta function is used as a weight function. In Galerkin method, we are going to use some function of the coefficients itself. So we will see each of these methods. Okay. So let's go through this. So you have the weighted residual method. W is the suitable weighting function. One simple example of W is the residual E itself, giving weighted residual as integral E square dx. Squaring E will avoid error cancellation. Different methods of weighted residual differ in the way they define the weighting functions. Okay, so now under weighted we got some understanding, broad understanding of what is this weighted residual method. And just now I mentioned, and please note that here also, let me go through this. Some of the commonly employed weighted residual methods are as follows: least squares, collocation, Galerkin. So how each of these are going to be different? The way you choose the weight function. And please note that this least square, when I say, there may be again several variants of least square weighted residual methods. I'm just here covering in a broad sense. Okay. Please note that research means it's not going to be like whatever you find something, it's not going to be end of it. There may be some improvements. Okay. Similarly, whatever I'm going to explain weighted residual, a least square weighted residual, that is in a broad sense. What is that? But some variant may be there. So some researcher may come up with a variant of it. So if you want latest what are the various techniques that are available under least square weighted residual method. You need to go back and see the literature. Similarly, collocation based weighted residual methods, whatever I'm going to cover is in a broad sense, and Galerkin weighted residual method. And whatever finite element methods we are going to study, they are based on Galerkin. So we will see why this Galerkin is chosen over least square and collocation. Okay. So now, any questions here? So now let's start with least square weighted residual method. Let's start with least square weighted residual method. And I mentioned in least square weighted residual method, this W is substituted as this W. E is substituted as this W. And let's see what are the various steps. Okay. And here, this polynomial, you can, depending on your pocket, you can buy any expensive car. Okay. If your budget is high, you can go for high-end cars. If your budget is low, you can go for whatever below 10 lakhs or something like that. Similarly, depending on the computational capacity that you have, you can choose whatever order of polynomial you want. Here, as you increase the order of polynomial, as you increase the order of the starting trial solution, you need to put more effort. You need to spend more. You need to spend more computational effort. So let's start with a quadratic trial solution. Okay. And then we'll see how to, we'll note down what are the various steps under this least square weighted residual method. So quadratic trial solution. What is meant by quadratic trial solution? It's assuming U to be A0 plus A1x plus A2x square. We'll start with that. So assuming quadratic trial solution. And if you want to repeat this problem using cubic trial solution, you can add A3x cube. If you want to repeat this problem with quartic trial solution, you can add A3x cube plus A4x power 4. Okay, you cannot go for higher order term ignoring the lower order terms. You cannot skip the sequence in the Pascal's triangle. You go back and see what is Pascal's triangle. If you want to go to select a higher order polynomial, you need to include all the terms of the lower order polynomials. Anyway, this is the starting point. So assuming quadratic trial solution. What is quadratic trial solution? A0 plus A1x plus A2x square. Okay. And I hope you have noted the problem statement. Let me go to that slide. So this is the problem statement. If you have not noted, you just quickly note down this problem statement. And we just now we noted, or we decided to start with quadratic trial solution. A0 plus A1x plus A2x square. And before we proceed further, in this problem, in the given problem, what are the essential boundary conditions? Whatever trial solution we start with, we need to make sure that it satisfies the essential boundary conditions. We cannot compromise on the essential boundary conditions. It is essential to satisfy essential boundary conditions. Okay? Keep that point in mind. It is essential to satisfy essential boundary conditions. That is the reason, given any order of differential equations, what is the need to classify which boundary conditions are essential, which boundary conditions are natural. That is the reason we noted in yesterday's class that one. So for this problem, both the boundary conditions turns out to be essential. So the starting trial solution has to satisfy both the boundary conditions. So substituting that information, you please take a note. You please write on your in your notebook all these steps. even though they are appearing in this slide. Please, one more thing I want to tell you, there may be mistakes in these slides. Don't be of opinion. Whatever is there on this slide, it is sacred. Okay, there may be mistakes. I am also a human being. There may be mistakes in this slide, so you need to be careful. Whatever I am presenting, it is your responsibility to cross check whether that is correct or not. Okay, so this is a trial solution, starting trial solution. Before you proceed further, you impose the essential boundary conditions. Suppose one boundary condition is essential, one boundary condition is natural, you impose only essential boundary condition. In this particular case, both are essential boundary conditions, so both boundary conditions we need to impose. So when we impose the first boundary condition, u at x is equal to 0 is 0. In this, it turns out that a naught is equal to 0. If a naught is 0, that boundary condition is going to be satisfied. Imposing the second boundary condition, u1 is equal to 0, u at x is equal to 1 is 0. Imposing that boundary condition, after taking a naught is equal to 0 here, imposing that boundary condition, it turns out that a1 is equal to minus a2. a1 is equal to minus a2. Okay, and now you substitute this information here. So this is a trial solution. After imposing the essential boundary conditions, this trial solution gets modified. Okay, and what is that? What is the modified trial solution is called? What that modified trial solution is called? It's called admissible solution. It's called admissible solution. You please take a note of it. So, starting with the trial solution, polynomial trial solution, impose essential boundary conditions, make it admissible, then you proceed further. Okay? So, read this one. After imposing the essential boundary condition, the trial solution for example boundary value problem satisfies boundary conditions. What are the boundary conditions? U evaluated at x is equal to 0 is 0. U evaluated at x is equal to 1 is 0. And whatever, after doing all this exercise, whatever trial solution that we get is the admissible trial solution. So that admissible trial solution looks like this. You see, you started with a quadratic polynomial, quadratic trial solution. Once you impose essential boundary condition, the number of coefficients got reduced. Okay, number of coefficients got reduced. Now this is the approximate solution. And if you are able to identify, if you are able to find what is this A2, then you get approximate solution. Okay. So to find this A2, we need to go through all that the steps in the weighted residual method. So if this is the admissible solution, you take first derivative of this, second derivative of this. Please take a note of this. I am going very slow, okay? Hoping that it will be very clear to you. So this is admissible solution, first derivative of admissible solution, second derivative of admissible solution. And what is the error function? Error function is E of x is minus second derivative of u with respect to x square minus sine pi x. So second derivative of u with respect to x square is, now this is the value 2a2. So what is the error function? Error function is going to be this one. Substituting, you can say admissible trial solution, substituting the admissible trial solution into the differential equation, the residual can be written as follows. This is the residual. Okay. And squaring the residual error and integrating over the domain, the total residual is this one. Integral 0 to 1 e square dx. So when you integrate or when you see this total residual is integral 0 to 1 e square dx. When you do this integration, this total residual is going to be a function of a2. This total residual is going to be a function of a2. So that is what is mentioned. After integration, this total residual is a function of only the unknown parameters. This statement is written in a more general way. In this particular case, there is only one unknown coefficient. But if you had started, please note that here we started with quadratic trial solution. If you had started with higher order trial solution, you might end up in more number of unknown coefficients. So that's why it is written here. After integration, this total residual is a function of only the unknown parameters. Unknown parameters are nothing but these coefficients, a0, a1, a2, like that. So here the unknown parameter that is the left, total residual is going to be a function of only a2. It's going to be a function of only a2. Okay, so I need to minimize this total residual. I need to find this unknown coefficient such a way that the total residual is minimized. How do you express that mathematically? Suppose if you have a function of x, and what value of x makes this function minimum? How do you find that? You are going to take first derivative of f with respect to x, equate it to 0, solve that equation, and try to find the roots of x. Okay, that is how, and one of the root may give you minimum solution. One of the root may give you minimum solution, or both roots may give you minimum solution. So that is the procedure. Same thing is applied here. Since this total residual is function of unknown parameters, unknown coefficients, you take derivative of this total residual with respect to unknown parameters and equate it to 0. Is this clear? This equation is written more general. If you want to apply it to this particular problem, I takes only value 2. I takes only value 2. So you take a note of this equation. And here I takes values depending on the coefficients that you need to determine, depending on the parameters that you need to determine. You are going to get so many equations as so many parameters that needs to be determined. In this particular case, only one parameter needs to be determined. So I takes value equal to 2, and you are going to get one equation. Please take a note of this equation. Please take a note of this equation. Now apply this to this problem. Okay, I is equal to 2, partial derivative of this total residual with respect to a2 is equal to 0. Why it is partial derivative? Why this is partial derivative? Why it's not full derivative? Because this total residual is going to be a function of many unknown parameters. It can be a0, a1, a2, like that. But in this particular problem, it's only function of a2. Okay, so that's why partial derivative is written. Any questions here?
I have one. Sir, I have one
So
question.
if no question,
Sir, why
tell
have
me.
you not taken I is equal to 0? Because A0 is also there.
No. This admissible trial solution. Now, after getting this after doing all this exercise,
So while the
here,
necessary condition of for minimum of total residual, you have to go by dou AI. So AI
no, this error is not now here. Finally, whatever we got here, okay, that error function is not function of A naught or A1. Even if you take partial derivative with respect to A naught and A1, you
for
are going,
general case.
yeah, this is for a general case.
So it can be A naught
For a
also. No?
No. If it is general case, that's why I'm saying you need to repeat this problem starting with a higher order polynomial. Then you may end up this error function having other coefficients as well. In that case, you need to take with respect to those also. But for this particular case, it is only with respect to A2. Okay. So now this equation, hope you have noted. This equation we can simplify further. And please note that differentiation and integrations are interchangeable. So this differentiation after integration is going to be same as you take this differentiation inside the integral and do it. That is going to be same. Okay. So this equation is further simplified. Just to take a note of this equation. So you take this differentiation inside. So it's going to be partial derivative of E square with respect to AI. That is going to be 2 times E multiplied by partial derivative of E with respect to AI here. And on this side you have 0, so it doesn't matter whether you multiply with a 2 or something else. So this 2 gets cancelled on both sides. Finally, this equation actually simplifies to this. And please note that we are following least square weighted residual method. So least square, that's why it is written. This is for a more general case. Okay. In this particular case, I takes value equal to 2. That will come and we'll look at it later here in the other steps. So here, thus the least square weighted residual criteria is integral over the domain, partial derivative of E with respect to unknown coefficients multiplied by E integrated over the problem domain equal to 0. So that is the criteria. Now, if this step is clear to you, now I want to slightly modify my earlier statement. Earlier, what I mentioned is in least square weighted residual methods, weight function is same as error. So I'm going to slightly modify that. I'm going to now reframe it in this manner. What is weighted residual method? It's integral over the problem domain, error multiplied by the weight function. Error multiplied by the weight function integrated over the problem domain. So now look at this one. This is the problem domain 0 to 1. Error is there and you are multiplying with some function. That function I want to rephrase whatever I told you earlier. So now I am telling in least square weighted residual method, weight function is partial derivative of error with respect to the unknown coefficients. Slightly modified definition. So I can say this equation can be interpreted as a special case of general weighted residual statement with weight function as this one. So how many weight functions you are going to get? How many weight functions you are going to get? So many weight functions as unknown coefficients. In this particular case, starting with quadratic trial solution, error function is function of only one coefficient, A2. So this it can be written like this. I is equal to 2 W2 is partial derivative of E with respect to A2. And you know what is error function. You take partial derivative of that with respect to A2. It turns out it is 2. And then use this weight function, integrate over the problem domain, equate it to 0. And you are going to get one equation and one coefficient needs to be determined. One unknown parameter needs to be determined. That unknown parameter is A2. So you can determine what is A2. Quickly take a note of it. Time is running out. Quickly take a note of this. So A2 can be determined using this equation. Suppose you started with cubic trial solution. You can do it yourself, okay? And then repeat this process. And then in the error function, if it happens, you get more than one unknown parameter, then you are going to get so many weight functions as so many unknown parameters that needs to be determined, and so many equations as so many unknown parameter needs to be determined. And if it is 2 parameters, then you may end up in getting a linear system of equations which you need to solve. And if it is 2 equations or 3 equations, you can solve using hand. Or if you want to implement in computer code, you need to use some Gauss elimination or something like that. So finally, you end up in solving linear system of equations to get unknown parameters, A2. So now, I hope you have noted this equation. 4 divided by pi is plus 4 divided by pi plus 4, A2 is equal to 0. A2 is equal to minus 1 over pi. So now you got the unknown parameter determined. You substitute this unknown parameter into admissible trial solution. And this is going to be your approximate solution. This is going to be your approximate solution for least square weighted residual method. Using least square weighted residual method, starting with, when you cannot simply say, I use the least square weighted residual method, I got this solution, approximate solution. You need to also mention what is the starting trial solution you started. You started with quadratic trial solution. Starting with quadratic trial solution, following the procedure for least square weighted residual method, this is the approximate solution that is obtained. And how it compares with exact solution. That is what is plotted here. Exact is this dotted one, or dashed line is exact. Approximate is solid line. Please note that if U is here in this particular problem, we don't know what U stands for. But as engineers or designers, we are more interested in the stresses, or we are more interested in failure. Failure criteria are dependent on principal stresses. Principal stresses are going to be dependent on your stresses and strains. So strains are actually derivatives of displacements. So if U, I don't know what exactly U is here, but if U is strain like displacement like quantity, I'm more interested in derivative of U rather than displacement. So derivative of U with respect to X also is plotted. Exact derivative, you know exact solution, you take derivative of that, and now you got approximate solution, you take derivative of it, plot it. This is how they are matching. Okay, and you can see here how much error is there, at what point error is more, at what point error is less. How to improve this solution? How to improve this? I am not satisfied with this kind of error. How do I improve it? I'm going to start with cubic trial solution. If I start with cubic trial solution, maybe I end up in determining more number of coefficients. And here, instead of solving one equation, I may end up in solving two equations. So effort is increased. When effort is increased, obviously the approximate solution error is going to reduce. So depending on your budget or your how much accuracy you require, you start with higher order polynomial. And when you will say solution is converged, you keep on increasing the order of polynomial and keep on plotting this kind of thing. And when there is no much difference between two subsequent polynomials, you can say solution is converged. Any questions? Okay. In tomorrow's class, we are going to look at collocation method. I'm going to stop here. Let me take attendance. Meanwhile, if you have any questions or anything, you can raise that.
Sir, I have one question.
Yes.
Sir, does the term residual and error function can be interchangeable?
Both are same. Both are same. What do you mean by interchangeable?
Yeah, both are same.
Residue is whatever is left over. Left over in the sense they are not matching. They are not matching. Left hand side is not matching with right hand side. So that I am defining as residue. Or that is what I'm actually referring to residue. If you don't like it, you can call it error.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, what I suggest is you please take it seriously, go through this, whatever we covered in today's class for a better understanding. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank